Smart way to handle disrespect. Disrespect is an inevitable part of life. At some point, someone's words or actions will challenge your dignity, self-worth, or patience. But the question isn't whether disrespect will come your way, the question is how you respond when it does. Because the way you handle disrespect speaks volumes about who you are, not the person being disrespectful. Disrespect often feels personal, as if it is an attack on who you are. The natural reaction is to defend yourself, to push back, or to let the other person's words or actions invade your sense of self-worth. However, one of the most powerful ways to handle disrespect is to separate the person from their behavior. This shift in perspective can transform how you respond, how you feel, and even how you view the situation. When someone disrespects you, it's easy to assume that their actions reflect their feelings about you as a person. The words they use, the tone they take, or the dismissive gestures they make may feel like a direct commentary on your value. But often their behavior has less to do with you and more to do with them. People act disrespectfully for a variety of reasons: anger, insecurity, frustration, or even a lack of self-awareness. By understanding this, you can begin to depersonalize their actions. Separating the person from their behavior doesn't mean excusing their disrespect. It means recognizing that their actions are a reflection of their state of mind or their character, not a measure of your worth. This distinction is critical because it prevents you from internalizing the disrespect. You are not defined by someone else's inability to treat you with kindness or respect. Their actions say more about them than they do about you. This perspective can also help you maintain your composure. When you view disrespect as a reflection of the other person's struggles rather than a personal attack, it becomes easier to respond calmly. Instead of reacting out of anger or hurt, you can approach the situation with curiosity or empathy. For example, you might think, what is causing this person to act this way, or what might they be dealing with that's making them lash out? This shift in mindset not only helps you stay grounded, but also opens the door to more constructive interactions. It's important to acknowledge that this approach requires emotional maturity and self-awareness. When you're in the heat of the moment, separating the person from their behavior is not always easy. Disrespect can trigger strong emotions, and it takes practice to pause and reframe your perspective. However, the more you practice this skill, the more natural it becomes. Over time, you'll find that you're less reactive and more in control of your emotions, even in challenging situations. Recognizing that disrespect often stems from the other person's issues doesn't mean tolerating unacceptable behavior. You can separate the person from their actions while still holding them accountable. For example, if someone speaks to you in a disrespectful tone, you can address the behavior directly without attacking their character. You might say, "I find that tone disrespectful, and I'd appreciate it if we could communicate more respectfully." This approach allows you to assert your boundaries while maintaining your composure. When you separate the person from their behavior, you also give yourself the opportunity to see the bigger picture. Disrespect can be a symptom of deeper issues: stress, personal struggles, or even cultural differences in communication styles. By considering these factors, you can respond with greater understanding and effectiveness. This doesn't mean excusing the behavior, but it does mean approaching the situation with a broader perspective. One of the most powerful aspects of separating the person from their behavior is that it helps you avoid taking on their negativity. Disrespectful behavior can feel like an attempt to drag you down to their level, to provoke you into matching their tone or attitude. But when you recognize that their actions are about them, not you, you protect your peace. You can remain calm and centered, refusing to let their negativity infiltrate your mindset. This approach is also an act of self-respect. By refusing to internalize disrespect, you affirm your own value and dignity. You send a message to yourself and others that your worth is not up for debate. This inner strength radiates outward, often diffusing tension and earning respect in return. People are less likely to continue disrespectful behavior when they see that it doesn't affect you in the way they might have intended. Additionally, separating the person from their behavior can help preserve relationships. Sometimes disrespect comes from people we care about: friends, family, or colleagues. In these cases, it's especially important to remember that the behavior doesn't define the person. A loved one may speak harshly out of frustration or say something hurtful in the heat of the moment. By addressing the behavior rather than attacking the person, you can resolve the conflict without damaging the relationship. This doesn't mean ignoring patterns of disrespect. If someone repeatedly disrespects you, it may be necessary to set firmer boundaries or even reevaluate the relationship. But even in these cases, separating the person from their behavior allows you to act from a place of clarity and strength rather than anger or resentment. Ultimately, separating the person from their behavior is about reclaiming your power. Disrespectful behavior can feel disempowering, as if someone else has the ability to dictate your emotions or sense of self-worth. But when you choose to see their actions as a reflection of them, not you, you take back that power. You decide how to respond, how to feel, and how to move forward. In every instance of disrespect, you have a choice. You can react impulsively, letting the other person's behavior dictate your emotions and actions. Or you can pause, reflect, and choose a response that aligns with your values and self-respect. By separating the person from their behavior, you make the latter choice. You rise above the negativity, responding not from a place of hurt or anger, but from a place of strength and clarity. This choice is not always easy, but it is always worth it. It allows you to maintain your peace, protect your self-worth, and navigate conflict with grace. And in doing so, you set a powerful example for others, showing that even in the face of disrespect, dignity and self-respect will always prevail. When you encounter disrespect, it can feel as though your boundaries have been violated. Boundaries are the invisible lines that protect our physical, emotional, and psychological space, and when these lines are crossed, it can create feelings of discomfort, anger, or frustration. One of the most important aspects of handling disrespect is to assert your boundaries clearly and assertively. Setting boundaries doesn't just protect you from further harm, it communicates to others that you value yourself and expect to be treated with respect. The first step in setting boundaries is understanding what they are and what they represent. Boundaries are not about controlling others, they are about defining what is acceptable behavior and what is not. They reflect your needs, values, and limits. For example, if you don't tolerate yelling or name-calling, it's important to make that clear. Your boundaries might also involve emotional boundaries, such as not tolerating manipulation or emotional blackmail. Regardless of the type of boundary, it is essential to know what you will and will not accept. Once you have a clear understanding of your boundaries, the next step is to communicate them. This can feel uncomfortable, especially if you are not used to standing up for yourself. However, it is crucial to express your boundaries assertively, calmly, confidently, and without aggression. For instance, if someone is speaking to you disrespectfully, instead of allowing the situation to escalate, you can calmly say, "I don't appreciate being spoken to that way. Please speak to me respectfully." This approach is clear and direct, without being confrontational. Assertive communication is about standing up for yourself while maintaining your composure and self-respect. Setting boundaries assertively requires practice and self-confidence. It's not always easy to confront disrespect head-on, especially if you're worried about the other person's reaction. You may fear they'll become defensive or angry, or that it might cause the relationship to deteriorate. However, the truth is that by failing to set boundaries, you are allowing the other person's disrespect to continue unchecked, which ultimately undermines your own sense of self-worth. It may feel uncomfortable at first, but the more you practice setting boundaries, the more natural it will become. And over time, you'll find that people begin to respect you more because they understand that you value yourself and expect to be treated well. When you set boundaries, it's important to remember that they must be consistent. If you allow someone to disrespect you in one instance and then let it slide in another, the message becomes muddled. People may not take your boundaries seriously if they are not enforced consistently. For example, if someone repeatedly interrupts you in a conversation and you don't speak up each time, they may think it's okay to do so. However, if you consistently say, "I'm not comfortable with being interrupted. Please let me finish," each time it happens, the person will eventually learn to respect your need for space to speak. In addition to being consistent, it's also important to make your boundaries realistic and reasonable. Setting unrealistic boundaries can set you up for frustration and disappointment. For example, expecting others to always agree with you or behave exactly the way you want may be unrealistic. Boundaries are about protecting your well-being, not about controlling the actions of others. When setting boundaries, make sure they are fair and based on mutual respect. It's important to respect other people's boundaries as well. A relationship, whether personal or professional, is a two-way street. Setting boundaries is not only important in preventing further disrespect, but also in maintaining your emotional well-being. When you allow disrespect to go unchallenged, it can begin to erode your self-esteem. Over time, you may start to feel as though you don't deserve respect or that you should tolerate mistreatment. But when you set boundaries, you reaffirm your worth. You are sending a message to both yourself and others that you will not accept behavior that undermines your value. This can be incredibly empowering and help you to feel more in control of your life and relationships. Boundaries also serve as a tool for self-care. When you communicate your boundaries clearly, you are taking steps to protect your mental and emotional health. For example, if someone is constantly criticizing you in a way that feels hurtful, it's important to set a boundary by saying, "I'm not comfortable with the way you're speaking to me. I need us to have more respectful conversations." This not only protects you from further harm, but also gives the other person an opportunity to reflect on their behavior and change their approach. By setting boundaries, you are creating a healthier space for yourself and promoting more respectful interactions. There may be times when someone challenges your boundaries, especially if they are not used to you asserting yourself. In these situations, it's important to stay firm in your resolve. You may encounter resistance, but that doesn't mean you should back down. Remember that setting boundaries is about your well-being, and it's not something you need to apologize for. If someone becomes defensive or tries to manipulate you into changing your stance, stay calm and reiterate your boundaries. I understand that you may be upset, but I still expect to be treated with respect. If the disrespect continues despite your boundary setting, you may need to reevaluate the relationship or take more assertive action. When someone disrespects you, it can feel like a direct attack on your self-worth. However, one of the most powerful tools you can use in these situations is to remain calm. Maintaining composure in the face of disrespect not only protects your emotional well-being, but also sends a message to others that their behavior will not dictate your reaction. The ability to stay calm when someone disrespects you is not about suppressing your feelings or pretending that nothing bothers you. It's about choosing how to respond in a way that reflects your values and emotional maturity. The first step in staying calm is to recognize that your initial emotional response to disrespect is natural. When we feel attacked or belittled, it's easy to become defensive, angry, or upset. These emotions are a natural part of being human, and there is no shame in feeling hurt or frustrated when someone disrespects you. However, the key is not allowing these emotions to control your actions. Instead of reacting impulsively, you can take a step back and give yourself a moment to breathe, reflect, and choose how to respond. Staying calm begins with awareness. Before you react to the disrespect, take a moment to check in with yourself. Notice the emotions rising within you, whether it's anger, sadness, or frustration, and acknowledge them without judgment. This mindfulness practice allows you to observe your feelings without being controlled by them. In this moment of pause, you create a space between the disrespectful behavior and your response, which gives you the power to choose how you want to engage with the situation. A simple technique for staying calm is deep breathing. Deep breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which helps counter the body's natural fight or flight response when we feel threatened. By focusing on slow, deep breaths, you can quickly calm your body and mind, making it easier to think clearly and respond rationally. This physical act of slowing down your breath can help reduce the intensity of your emotional reaction, making it easier to stay in control of your response. Another important aspect of staying calm is reframing the situation. When someone disrespects you, it can be easy to focus on the offense and let your mind spiral into negative thoughts. You might begin to feel that the person's disrespect is a reflection of your inadequacy or worthlessness. However, reframing helps you see the situation from a different angle. Instead of focusing on the disrespect as a personal attack, you can recognize that the other person's actions are a reflection of them, not you. People who act disrespectfully often do so because of their own insecurities, frustrations, or unresolved issues. By reframing the situation, you understand that their behavior is more about them than it is about your worth. This perspective shift helps you to detach emotionally from the situation, which allows you to respond in a more composed and constructive way. Remaining calm also involves knowing that you have control over your reaction. While you cannot control someone else's behavior, you can always control how you respond. When you respond to disrespect with calmness, you are exercising your power. This doesn't mean allowing the person to continue disrespecting you, but rather that you are choosing a response that reflects your emotional maturity. For example, if someone speaks to you in an aggressive or rude manner, you can respond by calmly stating that you won't tolerate that kind of communication. Your calm demeanor shows that you are in control, and it often leads the other person to reconsider their approach. Sometimes, staying calm requires setting boundaries. Disrespectful behavior should not be tolerated, but it is possible to assert your boundaries without escalating the situation. If someone speaks to you in a disrespectful manner, instead of getting defensive or retaliating with harsh words, you can calmly and firmly say, "I don't appreciate being spoken to in that way. I'd like us to communicate with respect." By staying calm and assertive, you set clear expectations for how you should be treated, and the other person is more likely to respect those boundaries. Another important factor in staying calm is detaching from the need to win the argument. Disrespect often arises in tense situations, and in the heat of the moment, it can be tempting to engage in a battle of words or try to prove your point. However, engaging in a back-and-forth exchange fueled by emotions can escalate the situation and lead to further disrespect. Instead of focusing on winning the argument, Focus on maintaining your composure and addressing the issue with a level head. This approach not only diffuses tension but also shows that you are more interested in finding a resolution than in feeding into negativity. Sometimes, staying calm means walking away from the situation. If the disrespect continues or escalates despite your attempts to address it calmly, it may be best to remove yourself from the conversation or environment. Walking away doesn't mean you are giving up or allowing the disrespect to slide. It means you are choosing to protect your emotional well-being by distancing yourself from the toxic behavior. In this case, leaving the situation allows you to maintain your calm and composure. And it can also send a clear message that disrespect is not something you will tolerate. Remaining calm is not only beneficial for handling disrespect but also for maintaining your emotional health. When you react impulsively to disrespect, it often results in negative emotions like anger, resentment, and regret. These emotions can weigh heavily on your mind and body, creating a cycle of stress that affects your overall well-being. However, when you stay calm, you protect yourself from these harmful emotional responses. By maintaining a composed demeanor, you are able to preserve your peace of mind and avoid unnecessary stress. Additionally, staying calm often leads to better outcomes. When you respond to disrespect with a level head, you are more likely to engage in a productive conversation and resolve the issue. On the other hand, if you react with anger or frustration, the situation is likely to escalate, and the opportunity for resolution is lost. People are more likely to listen and take you seriously when you remain calm, and this often leads to more respectful communication moving forward. Remaining calm in the face of disrespect is not about suppressing your emotions or pretending that the situation doesn't matter. It's about choosing to respond with emotional intelligence and self-control. By taking a moment to breathe, reframing the situation, asserting your boundaries, and maintaining your composure, you can navigate disrespectful situations with grace and dignity. Staying calm allows you to protect your emotional well-being, assert your self-worth, and create a space for respectful communication. Ultimately, it's a choice that empowers you to respond in a way that reflects your values and emotional maturity, and it sets the stage for healthier, more respectful interactions in the future.